9,000 subscribers, and... Wait, hang on, let me get this out of the way.
It's over 9,000!
Okay, that's enough, that's enough. You guys seriously killed that joke way before I even hit that number. So, it's once again time for the worst list. We are up to number 2. And the fun thing about this list was watching everyone guess which ones were actually on it. Because a lot of people, for some reason, ended up guessing ones that I'd already reviewed. I mean, there's no reason to go over them again. I mean, there were guesses of Armada Sideswipe, or more famously, Armada Hotshot. But you know what? You're right. The next one is Armada Hotshot. From the Built to Rule series. Oh yeah, I'm gonna complete this trifecta from hell. Since this is my last chance to talk Hotshot in this series, let's get a couple others out of the way that everyone asks me about. Cybertron Hotshot is one of my favorite toys from that series. Very cool in both modes, fine articulation for its time, and an unintrusive gimmick that plays to his character. For a full review of that mold, check out my review of Red Exilion. They're the same toy except for the plastic color. And before anyone asks, I like the Cybertron Defense one too. The Universe 2 mold I showed at the end of the Energon Hotshot review is also decent, though his design was overcomplicated. Articulation is good, and if you fold the back kibble the right way, his shoulders completely work. He'd be great if his feet could lock in place. However, the Jolt Minicon somehow manages to have worse balance than the original. I will also preface the review with this. I don't actually own every built-to-rule toy there is, so technically there might be one that's worse. However, because of the character involved with this particular one, I don't believe any of them to be all around worse than this.
You're biased!
Not because of that. Because every version of Hotshot has one thing in common, a sleek sports car mode. It's the defining trait of the character, even if sometimes it does come off looking really generic. Which does mean that this Lego knockoff version looks like a Lego knockoff version. As sleek sports cars go, this is not sleek, this is not sporty, I'd hardly call it a car at this rate. It looks more like some off-road buggy with its boxy shape and huge tires. It does have the irritating yellow color right, but it's also got a lot of unnecessary black, and the red is only accidentally exposed on the undercarriage. More importantly, what elements of this even look like Hotshot at all? Like, the details on the front end are completely off. The engine block is flat. The deco on the top is completely gone. There's no red on the inside of the wheels. There's no spoiler in the back. Seriously, at this rate, I could probably make a more convincing Hotshot out of normal Legos in about an hour. Oh wait, I already did! And I wasn't being paid to design it either. And I also didn't need any cheating blocks in the process. Oh, but wait. What's a cheating block, you might ask? This is a cheating block. One solid lump of plastic shaped like a bumper, which means the only thing this piece will ever be is a bumper, shaped exactly like this. I mean, this is Lego, right? Toys made for your imagination? Except I can't begin to imagine what else I would ever use this piece for. Oh, but I'm not being fair here, because I left two pieces off. The missile launchers, which are supposed to fit onto the top. Now, in order to fire the missile, you're supposed to plug a block onto that piece right there, the little round spot, and turn it counterclockwise. However, the missiles are so heavy that they aren't going to launch any farther than the front of this car that we have called it, and I can only presume that I'm supposed to use the Minicon to do this. So I have to attach the Minicon port to one of the missiles, and then we use the Minicon's port here to lock it in, and then turn it to launch the missile. Yeah, that went about as well as I thought it would. Oh, but I haven't even gotten to the trademark feature of Built to Rule. Leftover parts. This is Transformers. It's all about engineering all the bits from one mode into the vehicle. When you can pull the parts off and put them anywhere you want, there is no excuse to leave anything out. For Hotshot, he leaves 3 pieces out of his vehicle mode, 2 of which are these ankle joints, which I actually find when you bend them over, make pretty decent accessory cannons for the top of his hood. Doing this, we've moved beyond Thunderdome and jumped straight into something out of twisted metal. It's not even those that really bug me, though. I mean, at least you can use them for something. No, it's the 3rd piece they left out that gets to me. And this might be one of the biggest examples of asinine design choice I have ever witnessed. The head! They don't give you a spot for the head to go! I mean, at least on Thundercracker they did something with it. It was stupid, but they did something with it. Here, nothing! Oh, but simply leaving them off just wasn't enough for the design crew. What I am about to show you demonstrates just how little thought went into these toys. Now I've removed a few of the pieces from the top just so you can get a better look at what I'm talking about here. Underneath the roof you will find this black cross piece. It's not really adding support to anything necessary, so yeah, it's kinda useless. So how about we find a use for it by keeping, I don't know, let's put something there. I don't know, maybe the head? Gee, this cavity in the toy is completely hollow and the head fits perfectly in there without interfering with anything. I mean, seriously, this didn't take me any time at all to figure out on my own. Perfectly fine. Nothing in the way, see? And this is Transformer 101. Find a place to hide the head. Yes, I know. What shocks me is how obvious, how easy this was. And it's like they didn't even think of it. The one nice thing I can say about his vehicle, it rolls well. Well, the wheel was only the first invention made, so I should hope they get that right. And before we go into robot mode, let's talk about the Minicon. Because I have no choice. Jolt's vehicle mode, as always, is a helicopter. Not that you would call this a helicopter, it looks more like a tank with a broken turret. Give me 1 second. There. 1 second. I fixed your designs again, Hasbro. This is how much thought went into these, people. Robot mode's just as atrocious, and it's just like every other BTR Minicon, unpainted with the same lack of articulation. Best you get is that of a flailing child. And big, blocky legs with absolutely no definition. And somehow, despite having blocks for legs, he has the worst balance of all 3 Jolts. The slightest table bump, the slightest breath or stray breeze is enough to put him on his back. Oh, and big surprise, you have to leave parts off of him too. Again, 1 second. Look, he stands perfectly now. I'm doing your work for you again, Hasbro. Pay somebody to think of this. Okay, yeah, he's wearing clown shoes now, but I make this argument. Did he look any less ridiculous before? And speaking of, here's the robot mode, and big shock, he's as bad as every other built-to-rule robot. Gangly legs, non-existent chest, and a lack of any proportions to speak of. But one thing begs to be asked. Why is he pregnant? The absolute lack of care for how the robot mode looks astonishes me. Making the car out of huge solid chunks was a sign of lazy design, and the robot mode suffers enormously for it. And being unable to break the windshield piece apart, Hotshot looks like he's expecting a full litter of awful toys who will inevitably grow up to make me suffer through their bad designs too. Sadly, the toy is exactly like Thundercracker as far as function goes. Same articulation just like all the BTRs, and none of it amounting to anything because the feet don't support any actual poses. I mean, I can't even make the Tetris gag again because this one wasn't donated from Russia. Actually, this one was donated from King Lafo, who I didn't even know I was going to get from him. He sent it by surprise. In fact, I'm not even sure he knows he sent it. I think he subconsciously sent it to me in his sleep so as to get it as far away as he could. Oh wait, of course I have to get to the leftover parts again, and this time it's truly astonishing. All this is what they didn't even try to work into robot mode. Now, if the designers of the Revenge of the Fallen toys looked at this, they'd tell you to cram everything onto the back and hope for the best. But instead, let's examine this, shall we? This long yellow piece, it serves absolutely one purpose in life: to sit beside this piece of the exact same length. Then why make them separate parts? Why have even more pieces laying around that you have absolutely no intention of using? Oh, look, the black cross piece we used just to hold the mount, just to hold the head, yeah, that's here too. So I guess it really wasn't doing anything at all in any mode ever. Oh, and guess what? The lazy bumper is here as well. And we've added the rear bumper and the side panels. Jeez, more than half the vehicle mode's laid out here. And the parts are so big and clunky, there's no place I can keep them on the robot without making it back heavy or hindering what little articulation it has. If they were normal bricks, I might be able to use them to improve this thing. Oh, but you know, at the very least, let's add the missile launchers just so we can finish off the looks of this and, you know, truly give you exactly what the designers intended out of this toy. Now, come on, Hotshot. Come on, show me a little bit of articulation just so I can finish this review off. Well, that about sums up my opinion. The faults of this line come down to the trans skeleton, a basic structure that all early Built-to-Rule toys used in an effort to keep some element of transformation to the series. It also meant the vehicles had to be built around the same solid block, and the robots had to be made out of the exact same lanky limbs, leading to enormous design limitations and robots that offer nothing different from each other. It's why Creo is such an improvement. It doesn't pretend to be a transforming toy. I mark Hotshot as the worst of this line because of how mismanaged his parts are and his bulky vehicle mode that ruins the defining trait of the character. Not to mention, there is no fun to be had in any way with this toy. Now, there are ones with worse robot modes, but let's be honest, all Armada BTRs have terrible robot modes, but at least some have a decent vehicle mode to make up for it. In fact, I dare say some of them actually looked pretty good. But in this sense, Hotshot fails miserably. Again. And it's hard to imagine it getting any worse than this. But of course, it does. I am the Plastic Addict, staying addicted so you can stay away. And I've only got one more to go. To give him a few extra cannons. Don't these things hold together great? You can mount on the front of his hood here. Again? Jeez. Stop ruining my shot, lame toy design. A sleek sports car mode. It's the defining characteristic of the character. It's the defining characteristic of the character? Under the dictionary for redundant, it says see redundant.